This was...
This is HBO.
Me llamo Salvador Sanchez. Cowdell, cuídate.
I'd just like to say to Salvador Sanchez that I'll see him on the 12th, and I hope we have a very good fight, and I shall be out there doing my best to win.
Live from the Houston Astrodome, we'll see Salvador Sanchez, who was recently selected the Fighter of the Year in 1981. The reason? On August 21st, he defended his crown with an electrifying 8th-round knockout of the supposedly invincible Wilfredo Gomez. Tonight, the 7th title defense of WBC featherweight champion Salvador Sanchez. Live from the Houston Astrodome in Houston, Texas, HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing. The main event, WBC featherweight champion Salvador Sanchez defends his crown against the number 6-ranked WBC contender, Pat Cowdell. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with welterweight champion Sugar Ray Leonard, and, of course, our boxing expert commentator, Larry Merchant. Ray, let me ask you, first of all, the champion here, I'll get his name out in a second, Salvador Sanchez, that's it, comes off a tough fight. He comes off an emotional fight, a fight which he won big over Wilfredo Gomez. You've been in that situation before, fighting a guy where you figure you should win, but that's got to be a tough mental adjustment, if not a physical adjustment.
That's true, Barry, but in a fight with Sanchez, I think this fight could very well go a few rounds, maybe a couple of rounds, because in boxing I consider him a technician. You'll see a feeling out process. He'll find the best strategy for his opponent. He'll hurt his opponent, then he'll take him out.
The guy is a fighter who all of a sudden everybody is talking about.
Well, he's a guy with unique talent. He's one of the few fighters that's able to hurt his opponent and get rid of him, just like myself.
Larry Merchant, let me ask you. People are starting to recognize Salvador Sanchez as an outstanding champion. Essentially the same question I just asked Ray. Do you look for a letdown tonight?
When a champion is as physically talented as this man is, his main opponent is himself. Coming off a great victory over Wilfredo Gomez is draining. It drains him physically, it drains him emotionally, it drains him mentally. He's got a fight now that he should be able to handle. We know he has the ability. This fight will show if he has the stability to go along with it.
And we, of course, will have that answer in just a little bit of time. Salvador Sanchez, of course, along with the man on my right, Sugar Ray Leonard, the co-fighters of the year in 1981. And what a year it was for boxing, the epitome of a renaissance that started a couple of years ago. 1981, a memorable year for boxing. First, in the glamorous heavyweight division, Larry Holmes continued his reign of terror, defeating Berbick, Spinks, and Snipes. But after 8 consecutive knockouts in defense of his title, he met a brick wall by the name of Trevor Berbick.
And you can hear Berbick talking to him. And I think maybe he got to Larry Holmes a little bit there. Berbick with very little left now, just pawing at the champion. It's been a great fight here, a championship go that has shown both the challenger and the champion as worthy of one another. It's all over.
Then, after the easy third-round knockout of Leon Spinks, Holmes caught that right hand, leaving him utterly defenseless against the relative unknown Ronaldo Snipes. But as he had done against Ernie Shavers, Holmes came back with vicious combinations to put an end to Snipes in round 11. It was a controversial decision by referee Rudy Ortega, but Holmes remains the champion. The WBA crown belongs to Mike Weaver. His only fight, a 15-round decision over Angelo Dundee's James Tillis.
The guy's shot! Go get him!
This fight is going to go the distance. Weaver closing with a flurry. was to fight Weaver, but now he waits for Holmes in '82. The #1 contender, Jerry Cooney.
Jordan is hurt in his own corner. Cooney trying to measure him. Misses 2 uppercuts, but scores with combinations of left stands going straight up. Jordan is about to drop. Jordan is on his knees and finally slumps in the corner.
The light heavyweight division saw the old and the new in 1981. Matthew Saad Muhammad has now successfully defended his WBC crown 8 times. His last defense, an 11th round TKO of Jerry the Bull Martin. Saad Muhammad continues to start slowly, but he is a true champion, and he always survives. The WBA light heavyweight title belongs to an Olympic hero, Michael Spinks. Early in 1981, Spinks earned his shot at Eddie Mustafa Muhammad's crown. He battered Muhammad throughout and finally administered a lethal combination which floored him in the 12th, as Spinks went on to win a unanimous decision and the title. His last defense came on November 7th when he knocked out Bonzel Johnson in the 7th. The boxing world awaits the unification fight between Saad Muhammad and Spinks in 1982. The middleweight title is already unified. The proud owner of both belts, the marvelous Marvin Hagler. He defended successfully 3 times in 1981, first against Fulgencio Obalmajias. And then he met an old nemesis head-on, Vito Antuofermo. Early in round 1, the first butt caused a deep gash over Antuofermo's right eye. The fight was almost stopped. Then, after yet another accidental butt in round 4, Vito Antuofermo suffered another brutal cut. This one could not be saved, and Marvin Hagler remained the undisputed middleweight champion. Marvin's last defense came on October 3rd against the gutsy Mustafa Hamsho, who required 55 stitches after 11 rounds of brutal punishment. Marvin Hagler, the most feared champion in boxing today. The super welterweight or junior middleweight division is headlined by Wilfred Benitez, who in 1981 became one of 6 fighters to win 3 titles in 3 weight divisions. He won the WBC super welterweight crown on May 23, 1981, with a crushing right hand delivered at the expense of former title holder Maurice Hope. The other version of the title once belonged to this man, Sugar Ray Leonard. It was on June 25th of this year that Sugar Ray won his 2nd title by knocking out former WBA junior middleweight title holder Ayub Kalouli. The welterweight division can be summed up with 2 names, Thomas Hearns and the undisputed welterweight champion Sugar Ray Leonard. On September 16th, these 2 met in the fight of the year.
9 minutes. You're blowing it now, son. You're blowing it. You gotta be quicker. You gotta take it away from him, okay?
Hearns guys has to tie him up or something.
Now it's going for the whole boat. Hitting him with combinations. Leonard is giving everything he's got. Hearns starts down the grab and now goes down through the ropes. Hearns just trying to hang on here. Left hand sends Hearns back against the ropes again. And that's all. It's over. The lightweight division belongs to another man who made the record books in 1981. Alexis Arguello won his 3rd title in as many divisions with a win over Jimmy Watt. His first defense was a celebrated win over a challenger with a sentimental following, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Arguello floored the son of the lightweight contender on the 14th round, and he remains one of the most respected champions in the world. And now we present the man who owns the WBC featherweight title, Salvador Sanchez. He has been called pound for pound the greatest fighter in the world. And tonight, he defends that title for the last time in the year 1981. So it's Salvador Sanchez, the featherweight champion of the world, being challenged tonight by the number 6-ranked contender, Pat Cowdell. And Ray Leonard, Salvador Sanchez says that he fights his style according to the style of the man he's fighting. But in this case, he hasn't seen Pat Cowdell so much as on film or videotape. Does that cause a problem for him?
Not at all, Barry. Sanchez is the type of fighter he doesn't need to see an opponent because he's able to adapt to any style, which make him a very unique fighter.
So Salvador Sanchez aspires to the goals already set by a guy he'd like to fight, Alexis Arguello. He wants to win the titles at 126, 130, and 135 pounds, and then maybe win another one too. San Jose Iturbide, Mexico is situated 200 miles north of Mexico City. Since Salvador won the WBC featherweight title, this isolated farming community has been the training ground for the man they call the Little Giant.
My name is Salvador Sanchez, the featherweight champion of the world.
It was on February 2nd of 1980 that Salvador Sanchez earned that title. He went in as a decided underdog against one of the most popular fighters the division has ever seen, Danny Little Red Lopez. But by round 13, Salvador had opened almost 24 cuts on Lopez, and the WBC featherweight title was all his.
I had the confidence and self-assurance to be able to beat him. Besides, it was the first time I was in that position, and I entered the fight with the preparation I am accustomed to now. Danny Lopez was the favorite in that fight. He had already won many fights, but we prepared for him physically as well as psychologically in order to finish flawlessly, and we achieved that.
After beating Lopez in their dramatic rematch, the Mexican fighting machine won a split decision over Patrick Ford. His father had once given him a bit of advice. No matter how good you are, his father said, never underestimate your opponents. It is a statement which the champion insists he will never forget.
I prepare myself equally for whatever rival I face, whether it's Wilfredo Gomez or Roberto Castanon.
That is the mark of a world champion, and Roberto Castanon will attest to the determination of Salvador Sanchez. It was on March 22nd that Sanchez caught Castanon with a looping left in round 10 to set the stage for a dramatic showdown. It was billed as the Battle of the Little Giants. August 21st, 1981, the champion, Salvador Sanchez, defending against undefeated super bantamweight champion, Wilfredo Gomez. Again, Sanchez was the underdog, but here in round 1, another crushing left sent Gomez to the canvas, and the Mexican remarkably took control of the fight.
In the first round, I had it won because we were exchanging punches, and I got him with one good punch. That's where Wilfredo Gomez proved he couldn't take it.
By the 8th round, the eyes of Wilfredo Gomez were nearly shut. Salvador Sanchez seized the opportunity and put an end to the lofty dreams of the super bantamweight champion. Salvador Sanchez had silenced the so-called experts and experienced his most glorious moment in boxing.
Everyone picked Wilfredo as the favorite before the fight. They had him at 3-1. It was no surprise to us that people thought Wilfredo Gomez would knock out Sanchez. Well, the result was to the contrary.
He has done the expected and the unexpected. He is a 126-pound prize fighter with the stature of a heavyweight. Salvador Sanchez fights to support his family and his dignity as the featherweight champion of the world. Yet, most importantly, Salvador Sanchez fights for his countrymen. He is an idol to millions and a mark of excellence in a land accustomed to worship. But above all, Salvador Sanchez is a symbol of strength to this country's most precious resource, los niños, the children.
Yes, they all love him very much. The people of Mexico stop him to say hello, to touch him and ask him questions. They love him dearly. Mexico is my country. I would not change it for anything. It's the place that saw me come into this world, saw me grow. It is everything. Everything a country could represent to a person.
So we know about the champion, Salvador Sanchez. What about the challenger? Who is he? Well, we know Pat Cowdell comes from the Midlands of Great Britain. We know he's had 20 professional fights. What more? We need only ask our expert commentator, Larry Merchant. Larry?
After that sensational victory over Wilfredo Gomez, a lot of people in boxing began to think of the champion here tonight as perhaps the equal of the greatest of all featherweight champions, Willie Pep. There's a long way to go until he achieves that sort of status, but it's the highest sort of praise merely to compare him to him. And if he is that good, where does that put his opposition? His opposition tonight is Pat Cowdell, an Englishman. If there'll always be in England, I suppose there'll always be English fighters like Pat Cowdell. They're quick and clever and indomitable, and they can't punch a hole in the wind. His cleverness is in that a deliberately kind of awkward style in which he leans and floats and ducks and bobs and weaves, and suddenly he comes on and fights in spurts. His problem is, aside from the champion, that he also sometimes bleeds in spurts. Let's take a look now at Patrick Cowdell, the challenger.
It is a long way from England to Houston's Astrodome. But a certain Englishman by the name of Pat Cowdell has made that trip to prove something to American fight fans.
I think America get the wrong impression of fighters from Great Britain.
Unlike most countries, boxing is a national sport in England. We invented the sport many years ago, you know, and the same as we invented the language, although what you did to it since is your problem.
Pat Cowdell has become a symbol of Britain's proud boxing heritage. After a highly controversial loss to Dave Needham for the British featherweight title, he climbed right back through the ropes 2 months later. This time, the outcome was entirely different.
Well, the first Needham fight was terrible, really, for me, because I won every round of the 15, and I didn't get the decision. And the second Needham fight, I won quite easily.
His second defense of that crown came on February 15th of 1980 against a highly reputed puncher, Jimmy Flint.
Pat Cowdell, although he was champion, went into the ring that night to defend as the underdog. And the whole country realised how good Pat Cowdell was, because he completely took Jimmy Flint apart.
Back home near Birmingham, England, and throughout Great Britain, Pat Cowdell has become a national hero in his quest for the world featherweight title, which belongs to Salvador Sanchez.
Everybody in the Midlands wishes you the very best of luck. Have a good journey at the beginning of next week and try and bring us back that world title.
I'll do my best, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
We don't look at a Pat Cowdell boxing to win the championship. We look at Pat Cowdell boxing to win the championship for Great Britain.
Well, I think everybody that is British is proud of where they come from. We all are, and especially Pat Cowdell. And nothing would please Pat more than to take the title back to England.
Sanchez is a very good fighter. He'll give it everything he's got, and I'll give it everything I've got.
So Pat Cowdell travels to America for a world championship he desperately wants to bring back to England. So Pat Cowdell has his moment in the sun. Larry Merchant, a little bit of history with him, too. He is the first fighter from the British Midlands to fight for a world championship since Randy Turpin. That was back in 1951. So we do have a little tradition here.
You know, if he's a bit of a mystery over here, a big mystery, he's even a little bit of a mystery in London, where we imagine that all British fighters come from, or at least headquarter in. For a long time, he never fought in London. He didn't want to have anything to do with the powers that be in boxing there, but finally he did make his peace with Mickey Duff, and here he is.
Well, in fact, here he is.
There he is.
Making his way toward the ring here at the Astrodome. He's got a bit of a walk before he gets to the ring. You see his record, 18 wins. He's lost twice. He avenged one of those losses, and the other one was on cuts. It was early in his career in 1977. Pat Cowdell, and one thing you have to say, Ray Leonard, is most of these British fighters, if they are nothing else, they are tough.
They're very tough, Barry. They're stand-up, straight fighters, and Cowdell doesn't pack that much of a punch, so you might run into problems with Sanchez.
Although it's interesting, he doesn't pack much of a punch to be sure, but nonetheless, he's knocked out 4 of his last 6 opponents.
I'm not sure what that means because I don't know who his opponents are, but I think it's more significant that he had something like 250 amateur fights all over the world. He was a world-ranked amateur fighter, a very good fighter, so I don't think he's particularly awed by this scene. And the few, relatively few, that is, professional fights he's had may be a little misleading. He is 28 years old.
Well, in fact, he and Ray Leonard do share something in that they were both in the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal. And I remember him. I also covered those Olympic Games and did boxing there. And I remember him as being a very tough kid. He lost to the eventual champion in the bantamweight division there. I don't recall the exact weight classification, but in terms of poundage. But he lost a tough fight that many people thought he should have won, and he lost to the eventual gold medal winner. So the guy is not chopped liver. He's been around. He knows what he's doing. Now we
turn, of course, to the other side of the coin, and that is the champion, Salvador Sanchez. And there's really something great to be said for this guy here. He has the crowd, I would say, just about 100% on his side.
Without question, Barry. In fact, that might have a psychological effect on Cowdell. I don't know. But I'm quite sure Pat Cowdell is very determined to win, carry the title back to his country.
The Mexican community here in the Houston area, we've heard reports as high as 750 million people. Certainly there aren't anything like that here, but the predominance of this crowd, Mexican Americans.
Before this fight was made for Houston, I know that Mickey Duff, the English promoter and all-around hustler, was saying that he thought that this fighter, Patrick Cowdell, might have a better chance if it was fought away from Houston. But once the fight starts, I think that noise will be put out of their minds, and they'll just be putting each other in their minds.
So Salvador Sanchez makes his way toward the ring, smiling at the crowd, a crowd that is very much on his side. He's become very much the darling in his native Mexico. Someone recently asked him if he felt of himself as being handsome. He said, no, I don't think of myself as being handsome. I think of myself as being very, very handsome.
Well, he's the champ. He can say that.
He's a guy who's really burst into the spotlight all of a sudden, and since he has been there, he has not been one to let it go. He has had some impressive victories, the most impressive, of course, coming in his last outing with Wilfredo Gomez. Let's go to the public address announcer, Dick Eason, right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention to the ring, please. And I would like to ask you to please rise for the British national anthem, and I present Miss Sue Laws.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Sing her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen. La guerra, el sacero a pesar y el bridón, y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Ciño patria, tus hijos te juran de la paz el arcángel divino, que en el cielo su eterno destino los convoca a lidiar con valor. Mas si estás un extraño enemigo, para ti un recuerdo de victoria, un laurel para ti de victoria, un sepulcro para ellos de honor, un sepulcro para ellos de honor. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, del acero apestad y el bridón, y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Aquí estás, tus hijos te juran de la paz del arcángel divino, cielo su eterno destino los convoca a lidiar con valor. Para ti las guitarras de oliva, un recuerdo para ellos de gloria, un laurel para ti de victoria, un sepulcro para ellos de honor, un sepulcro para ellos de honor. Mexicanos al grito la guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridón, y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Patria, patria, tus hijos te juran exhalmar con sus aras tu aliento, y el clarín con su bélico acento los convoca a lidiar con valor. Para ti las guitarras de oliva, un recuerdo para ellos de gloria, un laurel para ti de victoria, un sepulcro para ellos de honor, un sepulcro para ellos de honor. Mexicanos al grito la guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridón, y retiembla en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón.
Barry Tompkins with Larry Merchant and Sugar Ray Leonard back at ringside here in the Houston Astrodome, and here is the tail of the tape. Sanchez, 6 years the younger than the challenger Pat Cowdell. His height, very little advantage in the weight. Likewise, the reach is also comparable. In fact, the measurements, by and large, very comparable in size. Featherweight championship on the line with Sanchez, the younger man, being the champion. Salvador Sanchez getting that big win, and I think that really could make the difference in a promising career. Now let's go up to the ring announcer for the introduction to the two fighters.
And here we go. Introducing on my right, the challenger in the red corner from England. He is wearing white trunks with a red and white stripe. He weighs in at 125 1/4 pounds. He is the number 6 rated WBC contender. Introducing from England, ladies and gentlemen, Pat Cowdell. Cowdell. And on my left, in the blue corner, with the red trunks, ladies and gentlemen, and the white stripe, introducing the WBC featherweight champion of the world at 126 pounds, Salvador Sanchez.
So we are just about set to get going here with round one of the featherweight championship.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over
the
the
instructions
rules in the
from
dressing
referee.
room. I'm sure you understand them. I'm going to enforce them. Let's have a good, clean fight, and the best of luck to you both.
Simply said, Salvador Sanchez, of course, speaking only Spanish, does not speak English, so whatever was just said by the referee, I'm sure was interpreted in the dressing room prior to the fight. So all that is left now is to settle things in the square ring. Never did figure out how they can make a ring square.
Well, a round would be very difficult to box in. But you know something, I think we might see an early knockdown here. Pat Cowdell seems to be a little tight here. I think he's in awe of the champion.
Cowdell, in fact, has not even so much as broken a sweat yet. And that is rather unusual. You want your fighters to get warm in the dressing room.
That is the key, bro. You've got to be loosened up because one punch, you know, through all the excitement and the intensity of the fight, it's very easy to get shaken by an early punch.
Salvador Sanchez, a relentless kind of fighter. In fact, Sports Illustrated said when he fought Ruben Castillo, and I quote, a brilliant display of non-stop, aggressive, and classic boxing. Those were the words of America's top sports magazine on Salvador Sanchez, who you're looking at right now on the right of your screen in the red trunks with a white stripe. Pat Cowdell, the challenger from England, wearing white trunks with a blue and a red stripe.
There's no perspiration on the champion Sanchez either. I think it's going to take him a few rounds, although once he hurts his opponent, most definitely he's going to take him out.
Sanchez all business in the boxing ring. Unquestionably his most impressive victory coming against Wilfredo Gomez in his last fight. He hurt Gomez in the first round of that fight. Left hand up on the bridge of the nose of Pat Cowdell. First punch of the fight that is really scored with any great kind of intensity at all. Didn't hurt Cowdell a bit.
What I like about Sanchez is his concentration, his eye contact. He keeps his eye on his opponent, watches him very, very carefully.
Sanchez, the aggressor. Cowdell up on his bicycle here in the first round. Looping right hand scores in the face of Cowdell. Cowdell did cut in his last fight. And in fact, even early on here, there does seem to be a little bit of, right now, what I'd call pinkness over the left eye of Cowdell. And we, of course, are just coming up on the 2-minute mark of round 1.
This is pretty much still a filling out process for Sanchez, and as the rounds go by, he get a lot looser and far more effective.
That cut that Cowdell suffered in the last fight was as a result of a butt, not as a result of any kind of punching. And one of the 2 losses that he suffered was also as a result of a cut. Going downstairs and then coming upstairs with the left hands. And a fine uppercut right there also scores to the chin of the challenger. And there is a definite puffiness over the left eye of Pat Cowdell. Ticking down to the 15-second mark, as you see here in round 1. This is for the featherweight championship. Pat Cowdell, first man from the Midlands of England to fight for a championship in 30 years. And 3 damaging lefts there by the champion Salvador Sanchez. Round 1 is over.
Let's take a look at Pat Cowdell. He's come through the first round. Pat Cowdell has his own little house renovation business there in England. He hasn't really earned enough money to earn his way merely by prize fighting. Let's see if we can hear what's going on in the corner.
Stay there with him and allow him to punch it to the body. Right away. Don't stay there. Punch and get away. You're all right. Let's get a bit of confidence up now. A bit more determination.
The corner is very calm. They're whispering to him as Sanchez's corner has a wire into there.
That is Sanchez on the right, Cowdell on the left of your screen. Cowdell in the white trunks, first round belonging to the champion.
You will see more punches thrown this round because both fighters begin to warm up now.
Sanchez very active, bobbing and weaving. Sanchez really looking every bit the part of a champion.
But he's a technician. He takes his time, and I think what he wants to do now, he's getting a little over anxious now, and he could get caught.
Out of the stalk his opponents. Most of those punches landing on the arms and the gloves of Pat Cowdell.
Normally, Sanchez is a very patient fighter. I don't know the reason why he's rushing himself, because there's plenty of time to figure out a strategy, a very effective strategy against Cowdell.
Well, in fact, he has been behind in most of his fights. The Gomez fight was really the one exception. All the fights around the Gomez fight against Laporte, Perez, Castañón, even a little bit, Castillo, he was behind and really didn't take command until the 5th or 6th rounds. With very little offense, and that seems to be the story early on here.
Well, the punches that Cowdell did land, they were very, very light punches, so I don't expect him to even daze Sanchez at all.
Chopping right hand, scored pretty well that time by the champion. Up over the eye of Cowdell. And that would have to start to concern Cowdell pretty quickly. We're going to have to keep an eye on the left eye of Pat Cowdell. It is not cut, but it is a little bit puffy.
Cowdell's best bet is to try to outpunch the champion, because I doubt if he can knock him out.
Sanchez really does look all business. Ignored by Sanchez, the right hand to the side of the head. They do say about Sanchez, too, if and when he does get hit, he has a great ability to recoup between rounds, and that's really something that's important to any fighter.
Well, Sanchez is a well-conditioned champion, and he's ready for anyone.
Two left hands score on Cowdell by the champion Sanchez. Another right hand to the side of the head. And that came behind a body punch. Sanchez getting a very good exchange right there. End of round 2. Well, World Championship Boxing continues here on HBO on January 30th. It's Wilfred Benitez versus Roberto Duran. That's live, 9 o'clock Eastern. Saturday, January 30th, the WBC Super Welterweight Champion Wilfred Benitez defending his crown against Roberto Duran, who gave the man on my right all he wanted one time, but not twice.
Let's take a look at some slow-mo action here. This flurry by the champion. You notice that the challenger, Cowdell, is very well protected. He's got his arms up close to his head. He's not getting hit flush. He got hit with one punch there, but it was a long punch and there was no power in it. He's very clever, is Cowdell, and what he's trying to do here is frustrate Sanchez and try to make him miss.
So we come to round 3 now. Pat Cowdell and Salvador Sanchez. Sanchez having things pretty much his own way through the first 2 rounds.
That second round, Sanchez was able to daze Cowdell for temporarily, and now here we're in the 3rd round. I think he's already figured out the best strategy for this young man.
Sanchez calls himself an intelligent boxer, and he doesn't say that in an egotistical way. He just says, I know what I'm doing in there, and he has shown that so far tonight through 2 rounds and 1 minute of another round. Ruben Castillo, who fought Sanchez and fought him a pretty good fight to the point that Castillo figures he won the fight, says that Sanchez can be hit, and as reason for that, he says all you have to do is look at his nose, which goes from ear to ear. Sanchez counters quickly and says that nose is hereditary.
Well, some of the champions have nice looking nose. Cowdell's, his style is giving Sanchez a bit of a problem because he's down a little crouched. It's like a peekaboo style, has a very stiff left jab. And now Sanchez is backing away trying to lure his man in.
Thank you, sir. Good job, Pat.
Sanchez continuing to pound away at Cowdell. Neither man is marked. Little reddening in the face of the challenger, Cowdell.
Those body punches by Sanchez is going to slow Cowdell down. And the punch that Sanchez is really trying to set his man up for is that overhand right.
Good job, Pat. Good job, son.
Sanchez clearly in control, pounds down with the right hand to the top of the head of Cowdell.
Good job, Pat.
There's a left hand that does score to the right side of the face of the challenger.
Cowdell comes in with that, constantly drops that left hand, but fortunately his shoulder protects his chin.
Well, so far Cowdell is pretty much what we expected, and that is not a great deal of offense, but game, certainly, taking the best that Sanchez has thrown so far. Sanchez, for a guy his size, a very heavy-handed puncher. You can really hear every one of his punches. End of round 3.
There's Salvador Sanchez. The really good fighters can fight both ways. Larry Holmes, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, they can counter-punch if the other fighter is aggressive, and they can take the lead if the other fighter wants to flee from them, and Salvador Sanchez is one of them. Let's take a look at that right hand that Sanchez landed in that round, the best punch of the round. Good right hand. It moved Cowdell back for a moment, but it was nothing that hurt him.
No, I think that right hand was pretty much the damage blow throughout the fight.
Typically, a plucky English fighter, Pat Cowdell.
Who comes out to meet the champion, Salvador Sanchez? Started round 4. Sanchez starts out all business. That was a low punch by Sanchez. Low blow with the left hand, and he does draw a warning.
Well, again, Sanchez is trying to get that right hand in. He's working to the body, trying to slow Cowdell down so that he will become a stationary target, and he'll be far more effective with the right hand.
The action here. Cowdell really unable to get untracked offensively here.
Sanchez needs to tie his shoelaces up, because what's going to happen, he may trip and even may get caught, and they will probably call it a knockdown.
Sanchez banging away at the kidneys of Pat Cowdell, and you can see a reddening on the back of Cowdell. Those kinds of punches I would think would take their toll also.
I think at times Sanchez has a way of falling asleep in the corner, or just to stand there and wait and see whether or not Cowdell is able to do anything. That could be a mistake.
Cowdell snuck a jab into the nose of Salvador Sanchez. But anytime there's a give and take, it is Cowdell that is doing the taking, and Sanchez that is doing the giving.
You know, there's something very sportsmanship of Cowdell. He looked down at the laces of Sanchez, and he stopped himself.
So Pat Cowdell just stands in his corner and takes a breather while Salvador Sanchez gets his shoe tied.
The next time he looks down at his laces, Sanchez is liable to look down and get clobbered.
It could have been a trigger.
And there's a pretty good right hand by Pat Cowdell. Cowdell continues at long range now. Sanchez continues to stalk him. Cowdell actually exerting a little bit of offense in this round.
That was the best punch of the fight. He hit him a terrific right hand with Cowdell.
But Cowdell is beginning to find his mark now with that right hand. I was wondering, Larry, when he was going to release that right hand.
Cowdell, one of those fighters that fights off his back foot. And that is classic. There's an uppercut that scores to the chin by the champion, but Cowdell does not take a backward step. And to round 4, pretty good round for Cowdell.
Absolutely, I gave it to him, and for the first time you saw a sort of grim look on the champion's face. I thought he was here for a holiday, and he found out that his opponent doesn't think he's here for a holiday.
Pitch of a right hand using with Pat.
Don't allow him to come with his one to the body if you can get away from him. It's going to tell on you as we go on. We've got some good shots in here.
In the other corner, they're cautioning the champion not to stand still, to keep moving.
Your Spanish has improved since we were in Las Vegas there. This is round 5. Cowdell in the white trunks, Sanchez the champion in the red. And Cowdell may be starting to get a little bit of confidence here, Ray.
Well, Bert, no one expected too much from Cowdell, even myself. I didn't think he was going to last but over 2 rounds. And here he's holding his own.
He has not been hurt by Salvador Sanchez. And as Larry Merchant mentioned, maybe the best punch of the fight has been thrown by Cowdell. An uppercut by champion Sanchez, but he takes one right back from Cowdell.
Well, now, see, Sanchez is taking a different approach towards Cowdell. He's basically moving to his right. And moving to the right on the opponent, having to throw him off at times.
Sanchez will, from time to time, go southpaw. He did it against Perez just a few fights ago. It was the first time he'd done it. Did it just briefly in the 6th round. It still seems as though Pat Cowdell has taken Sanchez's best shots.
That left jab of Cowdell's could pretty much be the key punch throughout the whole fight because it keeps Sanchez off balance.
He is getting through here, too. Came with a pretty good right hand that time. I think you're right, Ray. As you mentioned earlier in the fight, Cowdell's style just seems to have Sanchez just a little bit off balance.
It's a very awkward style. We might see a right hand again by Cowdell.
Sanchez punching in combinations, but the jab by Cowdell keeping Sanchez off of it.
You notice the way Sanchez keeps his eyes on his opponent.
Cowdell going downstairs, then coming upstairs with the left jab.
You know, Barry, very few fighters are able to stay as cool as Sanchez. Never loses his composure.
Cowdell's jab does continue to pepper Sanchez. It doesn't hurt him, it just continues to get in there.
Well, that left jab of Cowdell leads up to the right hand that he has.
Cowdell sticks the jab into the stomach, and that comes up to the head. Sanchez unquestionably the stronger of the two. End of round 5. Well, we have plenty more boxing coming your way on HBO Monday, February 15th, 10 o'clock Eastern, live. The World Championship in the welterweight division. A fellow by the name of Sugar Ray Leonard making his first welterweight title defense. He meets Lightning Bruce Finch in a scheduled 15-rounder. They call him Lightning because he too doesn't strike twice.
Well, Finch, if you're listening, pal, you better start training today.
My man is serious about this fight. I've never known Ray Leonard to take a fight lightly, and this one is no exception.
Cowdell's corner. There's much talk in Cowdell's corner about that left jab. And so far, that left jab is controlling the last 2 or 3 rounds. It seems to have Sanchez a little bit confused. The left hand can win a man a fight, can't it, Ray?
That's true, Larry. That's the key punch, the left jab.
So we come to round 6, and Pat Cowdell, folks, is still here. Sanchez still the stalker, Cowdell still the stalky. Neither man has been hurt. Sanchez's punches have been perhaps a bit stronger, but Cowdell has had that pesky left jab in the face and in the stomach of the champion Salvador Sanchez.
And this is what Cowdell has to do in order to deal with the champion. When fighters fight, constantly use that left jab, keep the champion off balance, and lead up to the right hand.
He has not thrown the right hand with any kind of regularity. Takes a right hand from Sanchez in the chin. Sanchez, a lunging right hand, comes up a little bit short. And Sanchez getting the better of that exchange also. Three punches to the head, all scoring by the champion on the challenger, Pat Cowdell. But he does not take a backward step.
Good job, son.
Break. Full step back.
Let's start in again, bud.
Get out.
Sanchez kind of taking a step away from Pat Cowdell, trying to get a little bit of punching room. Sanchez right now, at least, seems to prefer being in long range.
Well, due to Cowdell's style, I think some of the most effective punches that can be thrown by Sanchez is the uppercut. He has stopped putting his punches under. I think it will be very effective.
Sanchez, if you're wondering about how frequently he gets knocked down, he has been knocked down. It is not an unprecedented thing. Juan Escobar knocked him down twice.
Good job, Pat.
In his first fight in the United States at the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles. That fight was called a draw. Good left hand right there. Flat on the button by Sanchez against Cowdell, who backs up momentarily.
Well, you see the damage of those punches that Sanchez brought under was so effective against Cowdell.
One thing you really cannot lose sight of, and that is that the fight with Wilfredo Gomez was far and away the best fight that Salvador Sanchez has had. The fights that surrounded that fight against Castillo and the like were simply not as effective. Jimmy Flint, he had a tough time, or rather not Jimmy Flint, I beg your pardon, but he has had a tough time in his last couple of fights.
No punch, no punch.
Well, once again, Pat Cowdell still around at the end of 6 rounds.
That's right. We'll go back into his corner. One of the men he trains with is a marathon runner, and they say there's nobody in better shape. So he can go at this pace for at least 15 rounds if he has to. In Sanchez's corner, they're telling him to start to put his punches together and to hit him down low. They're trying to slow up the opponent. But Cowdell is just awfully difficult to fight. He has a wonderful sense, Ray, that when his opponent is on his heels, when Sanchez is on his heels, he moves into him. When Sanchez looks like he's going to come out of him, he just backpedals. He just seems to anticipate what's on Sanchez's mind at each moment.
Cowdell has very good instinct and good judgment.
Maybe we are seeing something that's an aftermath of that Gomez fight.
So we start round 7. Pat Cowdell on the left, Salvador Sanchez on the right. It was Patrick Ford, as opposed to Jimmy Flint, who gave Sanchez a problem. So too did Castillo. Once again, bobbing and weaving style of Pat Cowdell causing Salvador Sanchez some problems, at least in consistency. Neither man has really been hurt. Fighters at long range once again. That time Cowdell gave up one to get one of his own in.
Cowdell's left jab has been very, very effective. And his style, Cowdell's style, is starting to make Sanchez reach out and telegraph his punches.
Just about halfway through the 7th round here, and once again, Pat Cowdell just continuing to confuse the champion. The champion still looks in control of the fight, but Salvador Sanchez has not exactly had things all his own way. Right hand misses, and he did have Cowdell open for a brief moment. Referee Steve Croson, controlling the fight pretty well, stepped in there.
I'm very impressed with Pat Cowdell.
Took a right hand to the side of the head right there, and that was the first punch that might have hurt Pat Cowdell.
With the little experience that he has, you know, he's holding his own.
Another right hand also up on the side of the head of Pat Cowdell, but that one did not make him back up. The first one did. We're in the 7th round. Pat Cowdell from England, Salvador Sanchez, the champion, from Mexico. And Cowdell with a combination scores. I think you heard his corners say, beautiful, beautiful. Left jab again, gets Sanchez off the ropes. Sanchez now going to a left and right style. Wild left hand. Left jab of Cowdell into round 7, close round.
Well, I don't know about you fellas, but I'm scoring by the Marcus of Queensberry rules, and of course the Marcus was an Englishman.
Stop playing, Laura.
And I have the Englishman ahead, to tell you the truth. Let's take a look at the exchange in the round when Sanchez landed his most effective punch. A short left followed by a right. We have that from another angle, I think with the same result. There's a short pushing left, a right high on the head, followed by a pretty good right, a left hand and a right that didn't do any damage at all.
No, look at that replay and the damage of that right hand. I truly believe that this fight won't go the distance.
What should Sanchez be doing in your judgment, Ray? He knows that his opponent can't hurt him. Why doesn't he just go right to him and withstand anything that Cowdell can put on him?
Well, I really believe that left jab of Cowdell, being as stiff as it is, starting to bother Sanchez.
Neither man is marked. Little reddening on the face of Pat Cowdell, but that was there early on also. We're in the 8th round, featherweight championship from the Houston Astrodome. Cowdell started to pick up the pace a little bit here. And Sanchez, again, a lot of arms and a lot of movements, but no damage.
And Sanchez is making a bad mistake. He throws punches inside, then he comes straight up with his chin stick straight in the air. And if Cowdell throws that right hand, he could put the champion down. Or even daze him.
Sanchez with a couple of left hands that score, but once again, Cowdell just not with taking a backward step and flicks the left jab out right on the forehead of the champion 4 times. Cowdell really taking a little something from the Salvador Sanchez school, countering pretty well with the left hand.
The left hand of Cowdell's good. Pretty consistent. If he just to make his right hand consistent also.
Chopping right, and the left hand scores. Once again, the left hand to the nose of Salvador Sanchez, and again.
You see the power of Cowdell's left jab. Very stiff and very accurate. But I just wonder how long he can keep this up, because now the swelling around Cowdell's eyes begin to get a little bad.
Was only on the top of the eye. Now it's above and below the eye. It's on the left eye. And it's starting to get a little bit blue, swelling both above and below the eye.
Just before that round, the corner of Sanchez told him not to back up at all, which is, I suppose, a reverse way of saying move on and move forward. And I do think he did move forward. Now, we're informed by some people here at ringside that that round was only 2 minutes long. I don't know what happened there, but it's only 2 minutes long. So it is. There was a timing problem here in Houston also when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Kaluli. Do you recall that, Ray?
No, I don't, Larry.
I don't know who they were doing a favor by making that round a minute shorter if they were. Maybe the timekeeper is as overconfident as Sanchez was coming into this fight.
So we come to round 9 following that 2-minute round, giving somebody a 1-minute benefit. Remember that Sanchez has been a notoriously slow starter, with the exception of the fight against Wilfredo Gomez.
Sanchez had instructions from the corner not to back up, because in backing up, he's going to get Cowdell momentum, and in giving a man like Cowdell momentum, you ask him for trouble or even a much difficult fight.
Cowdell now turning that jab into a bit of a hook to the chest and to the stomach. And there is a left hand that scores to the side of the face of Cowdell. And Cowdell retreats for maybe the first time tonight. Sanchez stalks it.
Well, Cowdell is starting to move and actually start to run. I don't know whether or not he's trying to regain his win or he's hurt.
Sanchez's corner telling him to come on, come on. Another good right hand that time, and again it staggers the challenger, Pat Cowdell. Cowdell holds on.
Sanchez is beginning to find his margin now.
Another left hand to the side of the hand of the challenger. And a straight left scores to the chin. There's another right hand, and Cowdell is hurt. Chopping right hand hurt Cowdell.
Cowdell just took a series of combinations, good hard combinations. I think he's a little dazed now. And now we're going to see Sanchez take advantage of the opportunity.
Now there's a cut over the right eye of Cowdell. That is not the eye that was swollen. So the challenger is in deep trouble right now as the champion asserts himself here in round 9. And another left hand.
Well, I was saying how well of a finisher that Sanchez is, and we're going to see how easily he finishes his opponent off.
Cowdell is cut now over the right eye, and I believe under the left eye. Sticks him with a couple of jabs, but this round has belonged to Salvador Sanchez.
The right hand again by Sanchez. He's trying to set it up. It's an overhand right that he has.
It was a chopping right hand that did the most damage. By the then another hard right hand staggers Cowdell once again. He found exactly the punch that you were talking about, Ray.
Well, Sanchez found out how effective that right hand was, and he's going to continue to use it.
Sanchez, or rather Cowdell, bleeding under the left eye, over the right eye. As we approach the 15-second mark here in round 9. Cowdell continues to stick that jab. And another hard right hand, catching him right on the back. Salvador Sanchez just measuring his man now as we come to the end of the 9th round.
Well, we said earlier that Patrick Cowdell fought in spurts and sometimes bled in spurts, and he's bleeding now, and his corner is ministering to him. It doesn't appear to be a really, really bad cut at this point, but it may be disconcerting to him more than anything else, because after that, he started to get hit some right hand.
Well, I think the appearance visually Sanchez, that's additional trouble.
Let's take a look at that right hand, Sanchez's best punch of the fight, as he moves forward, almost like the grim death that he represents as a featherweight champion. A very good right hand. It's not the first blood that Cowdell has ever seen of his own, so I don't think we're going to see him back off here.
Cowdell, the first man to the center of the ring to meet the champion Salvador Sanchez. Round 10. Not a lot of people thought it would go this far.
This could very well be the round that Sanchez gets Cowdell out of there. Not taking anything away from Cowdell, because he looks so impressive up to this point.
Cowdell continues to get that left hand in the face of Sanchez, but really, almost a matter of time. Sanchez really caught him in the 9th round, hurt him not once, but on several occasions.
Well, Sanchez is just throwing pop shots now, trying to get closer and see it and feel out an opening and take advantage of it.
Again, Cowdell peppering the face of Salvador Sanchez with the left hand. Bleeding starting now. Actually looks like from the bridge of the nose from Pat Cowdell. And also over the right eye once again.
Cowdell's left jab is not as stiff and sharp as it was in the earlier rounds. Fatigue seems to be setting in, or just a matter of punishment he's taking from Sanchez.
Cut over the right eye, opened up once again, although it is not bleeding quite as profusely as it was in the last round.
Once again, I see Sanchez set this man up with that right hand because he lures his opponent in, throws the left jab, and comes across with that overhand right.
Sanchez really very much business in the ring. His expression has not changed from the opening round. Didn't change when he was on the defensive, didn't change when he was on the offense. Bleeding over the left eye has stopped on Pat Cowdell, but continues somewhat over the right eye. Not to the point of being any kind of hindrance right at this juncture.
Come on, son, let it go, Pat. Let it go, mate.
Cowdell's corner encouraging him. Another good left hand sends Cowdell back. Didn't seem to hurt him.
Cowdell needs to be throwing that left jab while the champion just moving around to score some points. And Sanchez, he needs to start being a little bit more aggressive instead of backing away.
Again, a left hand by Sanchez off a right hand by Pat Cowdell. Cowdell sticks the jab in the face of Salvador Sanchez once again. Sanchez comes back with a jab of his own. Little blood alongside the nose of Pat Cowdell now. Crowd starts to chant as Sanchez goes downstairs, still looking for the right hand.
Sanchez should go to the body a little bit more.
Sanchez still continuing to stalk his man. Taking his time, being very patient, looking for the one punch. And the end of round 10, and it was a round, Larry, that really Pat Cowdell kind of got back in it a little bit.
I don't think he's ever backed off. You have to be impressed. He's the embodiment of the doughty English fighter. He goes back to England having fought bravely and well in defeat.
Beautiful round.
You just heard his corner say that was a beautiful round, Pat.
It's all right there, Doc. Yeah, don't pull it, Doc. It's okay.
Okay,
yeah.
thanks, Doc.
Okay. It's okay, Doc.
It's not easy to fight well when you don't have any strength.
The 11's coming up, mate.
Ray, you don't have anything to back it up with.
That's true, Larry. And fighting a champion, you need every little bit of extra, a bit of power you can get.
Larry, let's talk about your scoring. You gave some of the middle rounds to Cowdell, but how do you see the fight right at the moment?
Go on, son. Do
I have the champion ahead about 6 rounds to 4 at this point.
So we come to the 11th round. And this time Salvador Sanchez comes out seemingly intent to say enough is enough. Misses with the right hand. Sanchez scores with the right hand, and that backs Cowdell up once again, but does not draw any more blood. Cowdell's corner has done a pretty good job. Sanchez has slipped in that same area on 2 or 3 occasions.
Sanchez has landed some big punches, big right hands on Cowdell, and it's not going to take one punch to get Cowdell out of there. It's going to take a series of combinations.
Well, they hurt him in the 9th round, and really that was the only round in which Salvador Sanchez really has caused any serious damage on Pat Cowdell.
Another major problem with Sanchez is the fact that his shoes are giving him a lot of trouble. He can't really get his foot.
A little more blood over the eye and alongside the nose of the challenger, Pat Cowdell now. The blood is not going into the eye, it is alongside the eye. Cowdell continues to score with a jab, which has been pretty consistent.
You know, Barry, it's quite natural that Pat Cowdell came here to fight, came here to win, because he's in tremendous shape. I thought fatigue had set in for a while, but here, once again, he surprised me.
There's also a little blood on the face of Salvador Sanchez, although that could be Pat Cowdell's blood. Quite tell where it's coming from, if in fact it is coming from Sanchez.
You know, Sanchez throws that right hand, and he slides when he throws it because of the shoes he has on.
That was a pretty good right hand there by the champion, backing the challenger up, and another right hand causes Cowdell to hold on momentarily. Another chopping right hand on the side of the face of Pat Cowdell, and more blood showing on the right side of the face of Cowdell.
Something to point out with Sanchez, he has very, very good skin because he's been peppered with that left jab of Cowdell, and there's been not even an abrasion yet.
Not even really swollen at all, as a matter of fact. That left hand caught the glove of Pat Cowdell, no damage. There's an uppercut that scores by the champion on Cowdell. Chopping right hand sends Cowdell backward. And another right hand to the side of the face, and Cowdell is hurt. End of round 11. Tough round for Cowdell, good round for the champion.
We'll take a look at that last flurry here momentarily as Salvador Sanchez begins to impose himself on his opponent. Moving forward patiently. Sanchez seems to know when the end of the round is coming, Ray. He usually starts a flurry with about 20 to 30 seconds left.
Well, what I know is the damage that those uppercuts, he brings his punches under. And that's, I think, what's going to be the factor in the fight. At this point now.
If you want to lose on points, you're doing fine. If you want to win, you've got to do a bit more work. Same style, more work.
You heard the words there of Mickey Duff telling Cowdell that he just had to keep at it, but just harder.
Mickey Duff's not in there.
And Pat Cowdell trying to do just that. Heed the advice of Mickey Duff. He's got a pretty tough customer to heed it with.
The advice from the other corner is take him out now. It ought to be a heck of a round.
Somebody should fall, and if I were a betting man, I think my money'd be with the champion.
I don't know. You know, I just don't know.
Cowdell comes after him. The champion comes after Cowdell. Crowd is on its feet here at the Astrodome. It's been a good fight, whichever way it goes. Right hand by Cowdell scores. Does not hurt the champion, however. Sanchez comes back, swinging a little bit wildly.
Well, now I see that Cowdell's wincing every time that Sanchez throws his body shots and then uppercuts. I think you're right. This could be the round.
Sanchez still completely unmarked. Blood showing again on the face of Pat Cowdell. Body punches are taking their toll on Pat Cowdell, as Ray Leonard mentioned. Almost doubled him over with that last punch. And Cowdell comes back, catches a right hand on the face of Sanchez.
I've been trying to predict the round to this point. I've been wrong so far.
Cowdell extending himself. Once again, a right hand scores on Sanchez. Doesn't seem to hurt him, but does score. There's a left hand and an uppercut behind it by the champion Sanchez.
Those uppercuts do so much damage.
Hurt him with an uppercut in the last round and hurts him right now with one. But Cowdell still not moving backwards, coming right in on the champion. Left hand scores by Sanchez and another left.
That punch really hurt.
And Cowdell holds on.
Cowdell is dazed, and that eye got worse. This has to be it.
Blood now showing very predominantly from the right eye of Pat Cowdell. And now the cut really does become a serious factor in this fight.
Cowdell still a little dazed. His head is still not clear. What Sanchez should do is back off and then take advantage.
Cowdell just trying to hold on here, get through this round if he can.
What Sanchez's problem is, he lets Cowdell regain his composure, get himself back together, and he creates problems.
30 seconds to go here in the 12th round. And Cowdell will do well just to get through this one. Left hand backs Cowdell up again, but the right hand misses, and Cowdell comes back.
It's been an unbelievable round.
No matter what, it's been a terrific fight.
Especially with Cowdell.
End of round 12, and Cowdell, being dead game, goes back to his corner smiling.
Beautiful round.
Smiling through that blood, it just says something about Pat Cowdell and how he's coming here. He's in sensational shape. He's fighting his fight. Let's take a look at a good combination by Cowdell in that round. There's the right hand right on the ropes. Keeps surprising everybody, I guess, except himself. Let's take a look at that from another angle.
Well, he's surprised when he retaliates. He gets hit by the champion, and then he comes back. And there we see Sanchez land up a big left hook.
That left hook had Cowdell blinking.
And that body will fucking stop pulling it apart.
Yeah, when he comes in at the back, you see.
So, one more round, I'm pulling your head.
You heard Cowdell say, what round is it? He feels like he's in about the 20th mile of a marathon.
That's a deep gash over his right eye.
Yeah, that right eye looks pretty bad right now.
Reminiscent of another cut that we all saw Vito Antuofermo have at the hands of Marvin Hagler. Just at about in the same place, and blood starts to flow from that cut right now.
I feel that Cowdell is the way he's been instructed that right eye is going to get worse, not better. And he may go at it this round.
There's a right hand by Cowdell, and he ducks under a left hand by Sanchez and comes back with a right of his own. But he takes a right hand from Sanchez right there. Another chopping right hand by Sanchez. Cowdell still doesn't back up. And the jab of Cowdell still seems to have a little snap in it.
It's unbelievable that all of a sudden Cowdell comes back stronger. But his left jab is stronger than his right hand.
He has been able to get to Sanchez. He just has not been able to hurt him. And Sanchez, to his credit, is just fighting his fight as well. Takes a combination again. The champion backs up, but shows no expression whatsoever on his face.
Those combinations there by Cowdell had to shake the champion up, but Cowdell makes a mistake. He backs away. Throws a good combination and backs away. That left hook there was a very good punch.
And once again, the left hand catching Sanchez on the way in. Sanchez punching in combination now. Sanchez's punches don't seem to have quite as much sting in them. But it has been 12 and a half tough rounds here. Chopping left hand that time by Sanchez.
I don't think Sanchez can figure out Cowdell because he gets Cowdell in trouble, and what happens? Cowdell retaliates. He comes back with a series of his own punches.
Right hand lead, a little bit lunging lead by Sanchez. And there's a right hand by Cowdell again. His corner exhorts him. Beautiful, they say.
This can be very frustrating for a champion. You have a guy in trouble, especially a guy as inexperienced as Cowdell, and what happens? He comes back all of a sudden.
Well, the cut has not really been any more trouble this late in the round than it was after the first 20 seconds of the round. Cowdell also bleeding inside the mouth, and that, of course, has got to affect the man's breathing. But you've talked time and again about his conditioning, Ray, and his conditioning is just marvelous.
That's superb conditioning is helping out Cowdell.
Punches still have sting. End of round 13.
A great big smile on Cowdell's face as he goes back to his corner. As he said earlier, he seems inspired by the taste of his own blood.
Pat, you've got it in your hands to win it. A couple of good rounds, lad. You've got it in your hands to win it. Give it a deep breath. Don't go silly, but pick your opportunities. If you see a chance, throw it, because it's a matter of points now. It's a matter of nicking those 2 rounds. Come on, son. You have 2 good rounds. Whatever happens, I'll get you a return in England. Now. You can do this. Yes, you can do it. You can do it now.
Talk about inspiration. What he's really saying is, there's that good combination. 2 good right hands by Cowdell. What Mickey Duff was really saying is, son, you go all out these next 2 rounds and we'll have a big money fight in London. And you're going to get a big hunk of it. He will wind up with just about $30,000, $35,000 at most for this fight.
So watch him fight now, though. I believe he's going to go for it. And Sanchez comes out, and he has the same thought in mind that he's going to go for it, but he takes a right hand and a left by the challenger, Cowdell. And even this crowd, which is in almost 100% in support of Sanchez, is admiring the challenger, Pat Cowdell.
Well, they appreciate his determination and his courage to go on, and his comebacks.
There's a good left hand by Sanchez on the side of the face, and a right hand once again as Cowdell take 1 step back, and then he comes right back up again.
This guy's unbelievable, Burn. He gets rocked, then all of a sudden he comes back with that stiff left jab.
Sanchez with a good counter-punching left hand right there hurt Cowdell. That was one of the first good counter-punches that Sanchez has had tonight.
I would hate to fight this guy.
He takes a good combination that time from Sanchez. Again, doesn't back up. Misses with a wild right hand of his own, and Sanchez is right back on him. Sanchez has picked up the pace here in the 14th round, figuring that maybe he needs to get 1 more round should this thing go all the way. Blood flowing pretty freely now from the eye of Pat Cowdell. And I know Cowdell would not want to lose this on cuts at this juncture.
Well, the impressive showing that Cowdell has displayed, he deserves to be champion.
You know, we use the word dead game all the time in boxing, and yet, in trying to think of another way to describe Pat Cowdell, I don't know if I can. Inside the 1 minute mark remaining in round 14. Sanchez is paced down a little bit here. Chopping right hand misses to the top of the head of Cowdell. And a left hand catches him on the cheek. And Cowdell again does not take a backward step. There's a combination by Cowdell scoring to the face of Sanchez. Cowdell does not seem able to hurt Salvador Sanchez. And Sanchez, this is by no means to take away what the champion has done. The champion has fought a fine fight. It's just that the challenger has brought the fight right to him and has done a marvelous job.
I think we all have to kick our hats off to Cowdell.
Salvador Sanchez proving himself without question a worthy champion. And Pat Cowdell, who came in here with few credentials, has shown that he is of the caliber of the man who holds the title. End of round 14.
Let's take a look at both of these men now as we go into the 15th round.
Try and win this round, mate, but don't get careless. Try and win it, mate, without getting careless. You've done marvellous. Everybody's proud of you. Now try and win this round without getting careless. All right? When you back him on the rope, let a few punches go.
It is a tribute to the champion that he is in the shape to deal with an opponent who is fighting the fight of his life, fighting at 125% of himself. Sanchez is there. But we all have to just really stand and applaud this game Englishman.
Well, the right eye of Pat Cowdell bleeding even before the 15th round starts. We heard Mickey Duff in the corner say, just don't get careless. And Sanchez comes after him immediately, and Sanchez himself takes a right hand. He knows that Cowdell can't hurt him. Mickey Duff said, don't get careless to Pat Cowdell.
Well, what must be going through both men's minds, the fact that this fight is pretty close. So this 15th round, they're going to definitely go at it.
wonder, Ray, if Sanchez is not thinking the same kind of thoughts that you had in round 14 against Thomas Hearns.
Yes, and it's a motivating factor. Those last 2 rounds, or even the final round, really bring out something special in a fighter.
Crowd taking up a chant in support of the champion, Salvador Sanchez. And once again, we don't want to take away anything from the champion in all our ramblings about the challenger, Pat Cowdell.
Well, the champion's proven he's a champ. I mean, he's displaying so much skill and talent, but he's fighting a real game and tough challenger in Cowdell.
I want to tell you, though, if you went into this fight not being a fight fan and just happened by HBO tonight waiting for Superman or whatever the movie will be in your area, you became a fight fan after this one. And you're definitely going to want to join us on January 30th, of course, for the Roberto Duran-Wilfred Benitez fight, and on February 15th for Sugar Ray Leonard's welterweight defense.
This also brings another thought in mind. You can't judge a fight by one's credentials, because Cowdell doesn't have that much experience, but he has a great deal of heart.
And as Larry Merchant mentioned, this is his moment in the sun, and he has made the most of it. Bleeding from the left eye and from the right eye, and in all likelihood he will go the distance in this featherweight championship fight. .45 seconds remaining in the fight, and it has been a dandy. Chopping right hand by Cowdell. Cowdell staying right in there, hits him with the right hand again. Sanchez pawing at his man, measuring his man, still looking for the one punch, and there it is. The right hand with 15 seconds to go. Actually 19 seconds. Cowdell trying to get up, and he does. Cowdell has 9 seconds remaining. 9 seconds remaining. Remember, he cannot be saved by the bell. Inside the 5-second mark, the fight is over, and what a fight this was.
Very, very impressive showing by Pat Cowdell. The people of England will be very, very proud of this young man.
And with every good reason. I mean, Sanchez hit him a right hand, and he went down. I really didn't think he had a prayer of getting up.
I didn't think he could get up, Barry, but I tell you one thing, this man displays so much courage, so much heart, and no question about it, championship material.
Salvador Sanchez, truly a great champion. Let's take a look at the knockdown and chopping right hand.
Well, it's the champion Sanchez set his man up with that left jab and came across with that crushing right hand. And here we see it at a different angle. Sanchez is champion. Extend that left jab, he's moving around, better position, right hand puts Cowdell down.
I really did not think that the man could get up from that. Even as far as the count of 6 or 7, it just looked like it was all over. I don't think there's any doubt. You hate to say that in a fight that goes to decision. I don't think there's any doubt that Sanchez will retain his championship. But it's good to see the fight end with both men on their feet, and especially a guy who was as game as Pat Cowdell was.
Well, Sanchez came back. He never was really that far behind, although it was a few close rounds and a few rounds that Pat Cowdell was able to take from the champion.
Sanchez just doing a tremendous job in stalking his man. He kept looking, as you mentioned, Ray, for that right hand, and he found it 20 seconds before the end of the fight.
But it's bad for Cowdell that right hand happened to come a few seconds before the last round ended.
And I want to remind you, too, that the rules here, had he have gone down once again, he could not have been saved by the bell. They would have continued the count, and that's something you don't see all the time. So Cowdell, had he have been gone down even 2 or 3 seconds before the end of the fight, still, he could have been counted out and it would have been a knockout. As it is, it was just one of those kinds of fights that you just say, even if you're not a fight fan, you got to say, terrific fight.
I feel so good that Cowdell was able to prove the boxing critics and myself wrong, that he was a legitimate contender and challenger.
He's a perfect example of a guy you just never know coming into the fight, and the adrenaline gets pumping, and he's a guy who's not supposed to do as well as he does, and yet he goes out there against a guy the caliber of Salvador Sanchez, who proved he is a worthy champion.
It was a very impressive showing by the challenger.
Sanchez looked as though he got the fight in control in the middle rounds, and yet Cowdell kept coming back and actually started scoring with his right hand as well as his left.
But I have to point out again that the champion Sanchez never really lost composure. I mean, although he had a few frustrating rounds because the challenger kept using that left jab, he never really lost composure.
All right, let's go up to the ring announcer now. We'll get the official decision.
Gentlemen, we have the decision, please. Attention to the ring. Judge Dick Cole sees it 146-140 Sanchez. Judge B. McMillan sees it 145-144 Cowdell. Judge Jenkins calls it 148-137. The winner and still WBC featherweight champion of the world, Salvador Sanchez.
Well, a pretty wide divergence, Ray, amongst the judges. The last judge really seeing in a widespread verdict. Let's get up to Larry Merchant now, who is with the champion through an interpreter. He will be in just a moment. We'll wait just a half a second for Larry here. We'll hold it here for just 1 moment until we are sure that Larry is with the champion, and I believe he is right now. So let's go ringside, up in the ring to Larry Merchant with the champion, Salvador Sanchez.
Salvador, were you surprised that it was a split decision?
Salvador, ¿te sorprendiste que fue una decisión dividida?
Bueno, yo creo que sí, porque en realidad yo estoy limpio del rostro y los mejores golpes los conecté yo, aunque él estaba un poco más rápido, yo los mejores golpes los conecté.
Sure, I was surprised because I hit I was hitting him with the better punches and faster, and I was winning most all the rounds.
Was he a more difficult opponent than you anticipated?
¿Este oponente fue más difícil para ti que otros o antes tú de anticiparlo?
He tenido otros, pero creo que tiene un estilo, se me dificulta un poco porque es rápido.
I had few of them, but this one's got an awkward style, and he had to confuse me for a while.
He was very awkward. Was it difficult finally, Salvador, after such a major fight and such a tremendous victory over Wilfredo Gomez, to really get all of your heart and soul into a fight like this?
Se te hizo un poco imposible después que las victorias tan grandes que tuviste contra Wilfredo Gómez. Esta pelea, pusiste todo tu corazón en este combate.
Bueno, los primeros rounds estuve estudiando y estuve tratando de descifrar su estilo. Hasta el octavo round logré descifrarlo.
Well, you know, I took this fellow not as good as Wilfredo Gomez, and he gave me a lot of problems at the beginning. But after the 7th round, I saw his style, and then that's when I won the fight.
We understand that you would like to fight the lightweight champion Alex Arguello next. Is that true?
Tenemos entendido que tú quieres pelear con Alexis Arguello, el campeón mundial de las 135 libras.
Claro que sí.
Yes, I'm willing to fight him anytime.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, champion. And now back to ringside.
All right, so Ray, there is no doubt about it. Due credit to the champion, Salvador Sanchez. What do you think? In a fight like this against a guy like Cowdell, was there something for Sanchez to learn?
Oh, I think so, because like he said earlier, that he never takes anyone lightly, but I think just for a little bit, he took this guy for granted.
So once again, the winner, and the winner by a split decision in what was unquestionably an outstanding fight. The champion, Salvador Sanchez, remains just that, the featherweight champion of the world. The challenger, Pat Cowdell, goes home to England, certainly with his head high. Be sure to tune in each week for HBO Sports Inside the NFL. Hosts Len Dawson and Nick Bonacani, recapping all the highlights and looking ahead to the playoffs. That premieres each Thursday, right through Super Bowl 16. Also, our next presentation of World Championship Boxing features WBC Super Welterweight champion Wilfred Benitez as he defends his crown against former lightweight and welterweight champion Roberto Duran. That's live on Saturday, January 13th, and what a good one that promises to be. So for Sugar Ray Leonard and Larry Merchant, I'm Barry Tompkins saying so long from the Houston Astrodome.